welcome once again to a special Jak Ann Poi podcast, episode number 3. Tonight we have on Romina, our guest. She is the most important supporting character in the light novel. She is a renowned painter, owner of her own art gallery, and the adorable aunt of 3 very special children. Before I begin, I want to remind the audience that this is a cring exercise in creativity done by said individual with way too much free time and should not be taken seriously. Hi, Romina. How are you today?
A little tired, but everything is just fine. You always have to say that before every video.
In fact, it's the most important part of my job as a podcast producer. Let's start with the interview.
Okay, take it away, producer.
Hi, that's my line. Anyway, how long have you been painting?
From a very young age, I knew that my passion was painting. I took classes when I was only a child. I also learned on my own, improving the technique with practice and effort.
What style of painting do you master the best?
Hyperrealism is my specialty.
Can you explain what hyperrealism is?
Sure. Hyperrealism is a genre of painting and sculpture that resembles photography. Hyperrealism is considered an advance of photorealism by the methods used.
So it's like you are a human camera, right?
Actually, in hyperrealism, textures, surfaces, lighting effects, and shadows appear lighter than the reference photo or even the subject itself.
Do you always have to paint with a reference model or photograph?
Yes, a reference is always essential. Although it is not necessary that the painting remains the same. I touch it to highlight the parts that I like and that cannot be captured so well in photographs.
How come your career took off and became a world-famous artist?
My nudes.
Your what?
My nude paintings is what I mean.
Oh, I see now.
My paintings were always considered of high quality and they were sold at a very good price. I had commissions from several people and I was doing quite well. But it was when I started painting a particular model that the prices of my paintings skyrocketed.
Tell us what that model was like.
She had gold hair, yes, an irresistible smile, skin smooth as silk. She was slim with curves, a Bailey that invites you to gallop through her meadows. Thanks to her popularity, the paintings in which she appeared were a success in the auction house. With that income and the help of my partner Maris, we opened our own art gallery.
And is it difficult to manage an art gallery?
With the help of my partner Maris, we both have a painting workshop, where we teach several apprentices each with their unique style. We are proud to see our students improve their techniques. We have a little friendly rivalry every time we hold an auction. The teacher of the student who is most recognized does not pay for drugs.
Oh really? What kind of drugs?
Recreational drugs, mostly hallucinogens, but we tried everything. They are all legal, but they are not cheap.
What can you tell us about Mary's? How did you become partners?
We met at art school. We were dating for 5 years. It was a very healthy relationship. We had a lot of vegetables together, but we separated because he wanted to have children and I did not. We remained friends and partners as gallery owners.
What are the most interesting activities in the gallery?
The main attraction is the art fairs. We organize 2 each year. We also do auctions every month.
Do you have any plans for the future of the gallery?
My plans have changed drastically now that I am in charge of 3 children.
It's true now is a good time to talk about Jak Ann Poi. How are you related to them?
It's a bit complex. I would have to explain my family tree.
That's what we're here for.
Yes, I think you're right. An important fact is that in my world, hair color is the main characteristic that distinguishes the different races. Hence, we all have the same skin color. In addition, this genetic characteristic is inherited exclusively from the father. Regardless of the mother's color, the children always have the same hair color as the father.
How interesting. So there are only people with white skin and the races differ by hair color. Please continue explaining your blood relationship with the children.
Let's start with Poi. Her father, Red, and I are half-siblings. We share the same mother. My father has 2 other half-siblings. One is Glenn's mom, Anne's dad, and the other is Bruno's mom, Jake's dad.
Wow, it really sounds confusing.
Yes, the funny thing is that Bruno, Glenn, and Red have no blood relationship between them, but both Glenn and Bruno are my cousins. You could infer that someone went to the trouble of creating my family tree specifically for that purpose. But hey, I don't think it's a good idea to think about that too much.
How did you end up taking care of those 3 children?
Bruno got a promotion at his job as a general inspector in an international company, and has to travel frequently. As it is not a favorable environment for the development of his son Jack, he asked me to please take care of him. They had to travel from a faraway island to come to where I live.
Have you met before this?
The last time I saw Jack, he was only a baby.
What about Glenn?
Anne's father, Ben, is a failed interpretive dance dancer. He lost his job because he broke his leg in an accident, so he had to pay medical bills and ran out of money to pay his apartment rent, and they were evicted. Anne did not want to go to the shelter with his father, so he came to live with me from a nearby island.
So you guys live in an archipelago?
We live in the Philippine Islands. But remember, this is another dimension, so even if we occupy the same geographical space, our culture is different.
Okay, please continue.
Finally, Jak Poi's father was arrested and taken into custody. His lawyer told me to take care of Poi while they solve the problem.
On what charges were this man taken away?
I don't know, it's confidential information.
Anyway, how has your life changed since the kids arrived?
It is very different. All the dynamics I had suddenly changed. I never thought about having children. I dedicated myself completely to my care as an artist. Now I have to take care of 3 children. Jak does not give me many problems. He is very well behaved and helps me with the cleaning of the house. But Anne is very naughty, makes a lot of mess and makes almost everything dirty. Poi and I had a very close relationship. She loves me very much as she did not know her mother. I was the closest she had to a mother figure.
And what happened to her mother? What can you tell us about her?
How funny you ask. Because he...
Hey, sponge guy, I forgot my penis enlarger pump. Yeah, what do we have here? Who is your lady friend? All right, you're going to introduce us.
Where do those laughs come from?
Carl, what are you doing here? We are busy. I'm interviewing her about her role in the life of 3 special children.
I can be of some assistance. I've experienced dealing with this kind of situation. And myself had to deal with the misadventures of 3 special characters on mine. Rule number 1, don't let them smell your fear.
Now that you mention it, I see a certain resemblance between the main characters in Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Jak Ann Poi.
Yes, it's as if they were based on the stereotype of each character and modified their characteristics a little.
Coming back to the subject, would you have liked to have children of your own?
I was very committed to my art. Although I have not painted in the last 11 years, I have had no motivation since my muse disappeared. Being an art character gives me the satisfaction I need to keep going. But I firmly believe that if you are not 100% sure you want to have children, the best thing is that you do not have them.
And not have to worry about having children. The shooting line since the incident with the killer with the Marine Wall.
Hey, I know the killer whale. Always ask for extra pickles in their Krabby Patty.
It's not as bad as it sounds. It's a blessing. It's nice not having to worry about having children.
Where I come from, you have to get a license to have children.
Like they do in China.
More or less, they're not that strict. If a couple wants to have more than one child, they have quite a few requirements. It is generally more feasible to divorce after having a child and remarry to have another child. That is the reason why there are so many half-siblings in my family.
It seems to me like he also likes to suction a massive dick, and by massive dick, I really mean very small penis.
Within his idiosyncrasy, Carl made an interesting point. It seems that where you come from has many similarities with China. The laws of only 1 child per couple changed recently, but the damage has already been done. In China, almost all are only children and do not know what it is to have siblings. I imagine that Jak and Poi are in a similar situation.
Yes, they grew up as only children, but now they have to learn to share. It is also the case that there are no other children on the island. Well, just 2 more, 5 in total.
And why is that the case?
Sexual education, mainly women are choosing not to get pregnant. In addition, abortions are legal and free. My story is the same of many women choose their professional life before starting a family.
So abortions are free.
As long as both parents agree.
Sounds fair.
In a case is that of multiple gestation. Since the license generally only applies to have 1 child, when they are twins it is less likely that an abortion will be performed. The most common practice is that one of the children is given for adoption. The requirements to adopt are much lower compared to the requirements to have children, and the adoptive parents may even receive monetary compensation from the government. It is very rare the occasion in which both twins are under the guardianship of the same parents.
How come the self-righteous religious don't cause you problem with their protest things like that?
Religious practices have been illegal for more than 100 years around the world.
Once again, like in China.
It was part of the World Peace Treaty. Thanks to that, we have been able to live very calmly without worrying about wars or religious conflicts.
It must be nice. How is the world without war or religion?
Very calm. People can live their lives without remorse, dedicating themselves to the work that best suits them. The educational system ensures that each individual can find a productive career that best suits their personality, thus attaining an unemployment level of almost at 0. Citizens born to a marriage license to have children have access to free health services and unemployment insurance in addition to other benefits.
Hey, doesn't sound so bad after all. I'm still liking to the idea of living in such a world.
Of course, if you are an unwanted child, things are very different, but I do not think it is appropriate to talk about that now.
Well, now I see, forget what I just said.
What is your system of government like?
Citizens licensed to vote are called randomly every time the government has to make a decision. They function as a jury, and a lawyer or prosecutor presents each case. The citizens are the ones who choose what should be done.
So they have to get a license to vote. Here it is enough to be a legal age in most countries.
Yes, we can't let people who are incapable of critical thinking take part in decision-making, which is why extensive examinations are carried out in order to obtain a license to vote. I'm not going to go into detail about what exactly is rated, but I can tell you that critical thinking is very important.
This already is looking like a socio-political class. If I wanted to know those things, I would not have dropped out of school. That's extremely boring information, especially if it's from another dimension or wherever you come from.
Yes, you are probably right, Carl. It is a good time to finish the interview.
Before we finish, can you explain why I sound like I just woke up from a coma?
It's not just you. All the voices in this episode were performed on uberdcuk instead of 15 i.
Has way more voices, but the quality is not great.
In any case, I do not feel capable of continuing to be the narrator in this condition.
Don't worry, Carl. We will find you a replacement, or we could keep waiting for 15 to come back.
It is a Mr. Producer. I will just hang out around here when you need a joke or something.
Beggars can be choosers, I suppose.
If you have any questions or comments, you can leave it on the YouTube video.
No one leave comments on these videos.
One can dream, Carl. One can only dream.
In the next episode, we will be talking about the rule of 3.
I have my dream voice and I'm going to use it.
I will be using Luna's voice from now on.